On the evening of July 1st, 2016, in Atlanta, Georgia, Jokisha Brown visited a beauty salon on Cheshire Bridge Road to have her makeup professionally done in preparation for her 36th birthday the following day. Around 9:15 p.m., she returned to her parked Mercedes SUV. Tragically, it would be the last time she was seen alive. Shortly afterward, police and emergency medical personnel arrived at the scene after receiving a call. They found Jokisha unresponsive inside her vehicle, and upon examination, they discovered she had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. As officers began their investigation, they interviewed witnesses who reported hearing a series of gunshots before seeing Jokisha slumped over in the driver's seat. There were no signs of robbery at the scene. Surveillance footage from nearby cameras showed a suspect approaching Jokisha's vehicle and firing multiple shots through the passenger side window at close range before fleeing. Though the footage confirmed the attack was targeted and deliberate, the poor video quality made it impossible to clearly identify the assailant. As detectives dug deeper, they uncovered Jokisha's recent history with her ex-boyfriend. She had publicly shared her experience of surviving domestic abuse and had filed for a protective order against him. Investigators also discovered that he had allegedly threatened her shortly before the shooting, raising suspicions that the murder was premeditated. Authorities focused their efforts on locating and arresting the ex-boyfriend. However, despite their certainty that he was responsible for Jokisha's death, the case hit a major setback. There was no direct physical evidence linking him to the murder, making prosecution difficult. Jokisha Brown was a 35-year-old devoted mother, known for her hardworking nature, ambition, and kind spirit. Her life was tragically cut short in a violent and senseless act. Whether justice will ultimately be served and her ex-boyfriend found guilty remains uncertain. This is the story of Jokisha Brown. Jokisha Brown, born on July 2nd, 1980, in Miami, Florida, was the eldest of 8 children. Known affectionately as Keisha by loved ones, she attended North Miami Beach Senior High School, where she stood out for her ambition and determination. Her striking beauty and magnetic personality made her a natural fit for the entertainment industry. She later moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to pursue a career in modeling. In 1998, she became a mother to her son, Jack Collier. Alongside her role as a dedicated parent, Jokisha worked as a model, dancer, and actress. Her performances included appearances in music videos and acting roles in films like Paternity Test and Queen Pin, as well as on the television series Fatal Attraction in 2013. Behind the scenes, she also began exploring writing and directing. In pursuit of greater financial stability for herself and her son, she earned a real estate license and began selling homes. As the oldest sibling, Jokisha had always taken on a maternal role, providing shelter and support for her younger brothers and sisters, including ensuring one brother completed high school despite homelessness. Around 2014, she met Alfredo Capote in Atlanta's entertainment industry. He introduced himself as a successful businessman who could support her career. Their relationship started off positively, with Capote showing support at her auditions and pampering her with attention and gifts. However, his behavior soon changed. He began monitoring her closely, showing up uninvited and questioning her constantly. Over time, his encouragement turned into manipulation. He isolated her from her loved ones, criticized her decisions, and took credit for her achievements. Capote also took control of her finances and business decisions, while displaying alarming mood swings, affectionate one moment and violently angry the next. Jokisha initially dismissed his behavior as driven by stress. By early 2016, Capote's emotional manipulation escalated into physical abuse. He demanded photo evidence of her whereabouts and subjected her to constant jealousy and threats. She began withdrawing from work and social life to avoid provoking his anger. Even her son was being threatened. Tragedy struck further on March 2nd, 2016, when her brother Marlon Louis Brice, aged 28, was fatally shot outside a strip club in Duval County. The grief compounded her already fragile emotional state. In April 2016, the situation worsened. On April 7th, Capote arrived at her Duluth home, where Jack, her teenage son, was also present. A dispute escalated when Capote brandished a weapon, He sexually assaulted Jokisha in her home and then forced her and her son into a vehicle, kidnapping them. During the ordeal, he robbed her and issued more threats. Eventually, he brought them to a hotel in Cobb County where he allegedly assaulted her again. In a brave moment, Jokisha jumped out of the moving vehicle to escape. Though injured, she flagged down a stranger who helped her contact authorities and get to safety. The trauma was immense, as she was also separated from her son during the chaos. Despite her injuries and emotional pain, Jokisha provided detailed reports to law enforcement in both Gwinnett and Cobb counties. She sought protection, obtained a restraining order, and pressed charges against Capote. Capote was arrested and charged with rape, robbery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and sexual battery. Jokisha ended the relationship completely and tried to rebuild her life. She became an advocate, speaking out against domestic abuse and empowering other survivors. However, even after being freed on bond, Capote continued to harass and stalk her, defying court orders. Jokisha remained fearful, knowing he still posed a threat. On July 1st, 2016, the day before her 36th birthday, she posted on social media about her celebration plans. That evening, she visited a beauty salon on Cheshire Bridge Road to get her makeup done. She laughed and chatted with the staff who knew her well. Around 9:15 p.m., she returned to her parked Mercedes SUV, but unfortunately, that was the last time she was seen alive. Shortly afterward, law enforcement officers and emergency medical personnel arrived at the scene after being called. They discovered Jokisha unresponsive inside her vehicle. Upon examination, they found that she had sustained several gunshot wounds. As the investigation began, officers spoke with witnesses in the area. Those interviewed reported hearing a series of gunshots and then noticing Jokisha slumped over in the driver's seat of her car. Police found no signs of robbery. Surveillance footage showed a suspect approaching the vehicle and firing at her through the passenger window in a targeted attack at a close range before fleeing. Though poor video quality prevented a clear identification, investigators suspected the murder was premeditated. As they dug deeper, Capote's history with Jokisha came to light. She had recently spoken publicly about surviving his abuse and had filed for protection. Investigators learned that Capote had threatened her shortly before the shooting. A warrant was issued for his arrest and a $5,000 reward was offered. While the investigation continued, Capote was arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana, on unrelated counterfeiting charges. While held there, he was also charged in Georgia for his crimes against Jokisha. Unfortunately, legal complications delayed justice. Federal authorities prosecuted him first in Louisiana, sentencing him to 62 months in prison for financial crimes. Only after serving that sentence was he transferred to Georgia to face the more serious charges. A judge denied his motion to dismiss the charges. While prosecutors built a strong case related to the April assault, the murder case proved more difficult due to a lack of direct physical evidence tying him to the scene. Jokisha's family continued to fight for justice, attending court hearings and raising awareness. As of 2025, the legal process remains ongoing. In the wake of her death, friends and colleagues held a vigil at the scene of the shooting, placing candles and flowers in her memory. Her family, while devastated, vowed to honor her legacy by supporting domestic violence awareness and legislative reform. Jokisha left behind her 17-year-old son, and her loved ones continue to seek the justice she deserves. May her soul rest in peace.